should start. Hopefully, as you know, Ruha is going to hopefully join us. The last time I was trying to meet up with her, she got lost in a BART, so hopefully it won't happen again this time. Let's take a look. I want to spend the first few minutes until about 12:30 to talk about the class projects. Okay, and did you all already, people who are here, have you more or less signed up? Yes? Okay. So what I want to do is, okay, I know that there's some folks that are missing. Antonin, you haven't signed up?
Yeah, sorry. I will do that now.
Okay. And Tara, right? And then Chalenge, what? Okay. And, yep, you can just sign in. Hey, I see you guys here. See, it just says anonymous somebody. And Eater. Wonder how that happens. Okay, so first and foremost, I do encourage you to sign up, and then what I want to do is to actually drill down into the amount of time that's needed, and how do you actually draft a 1 or 2 page proposal for me by next Monday. Cool? Okay, so first and foremost, are there any questions about any of the projects? You will see that Rachita, yours is still listed, right? Yeah. And you might want to be recruiting, and so is Christina. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this with your classmates? Either one?
Yeah.
And it's fine if you want to be a Lone Ranger, not at all an issue. Or join one of our projects.
I don't know, I'm still deciding whether to work on a live project to get hands-on experience or like pitch in my project, because I'm anyways planning to go this summer and do the whole research and assessment, so I might as well go.
Would you be able to make a decision by today? The issue for this is, okay, the reason for this is this, right? As you come up with your proposal for me based on the projects that you choose, the milestones and the deadlines, would be based on the number of people that you have, how big or how small we make the proposal. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, and does Christina, anything to add?
Just briefly say, so I think this project is going to be more research-based than necessarily hands-on, but I think it is somewhat of a, assessment of what's out there, what different organizations are doing to create jobs through technology, and it's a pretty new idea, so, just kind of doing research, maybe interviewing some of the organizations that are based locally, maybe trying to contact and get other people to speak to us that are based abroad, over Skype or so, and reviewing the literature that exists, academic literature as well as studies, needs assessments, all kinds of stuff that's already out there.
Cool. Yeah. So anyone, if you're interested in that, but you're happy to do this.
Yeah. So it's just if someone is interested, we can target more regions. I think I will just focus on Sub-Saharan Africa specifically. Okay.
Awesome. So with that, are there any questions at all? What about the Sahe group? Tell me a little bit about your extra segments that you're putting this in addition to what you're doing for your project. Are these the 3 portions you're talking about, the sustainability, measurement, M&E, and your business models?
Yeah, it's a final project. We are mostly focusing on design, how to design it for the intended user groups.
Okay.
So we thought that we can use this opportunity to come up with an economic model and a sustainable business model, and also think about measurement and evaluation.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great enough. What about your NDP folks? You guys haven't signed up yet?
What?
Which project?
Oh, look. We emailed you.
Okay, so you are still thinking of doing your own project?
Yeah.
Awesome. And what about Krista?
We're together.
You guys are together?
So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have a really cool, would you mind, if you can, just go online and, put in your project, and then we can talk a little bit more about the details. Okay, but what I want to do before I get Ruha up is to really quickly go with you through what is expected from your project proposal and etc. Okay, so what I did was, I think, when I look at the amount of time that is needed for a 3-credit class, and then I take away the time that is for your discussions and readings and all that, Each of you come up to about 5 days of time for the project, right? So basically, you think of this as a chunk of per person. In your consultant timesheet at the end of the course, you should have accumulated about 5 days, which is very little, it's 40 hours. But if you multiply it by all of us, there's like 12 of us, times that many hours, that we could actually get some really cool things done. So this knowledge, you would want to keep it in your mind as you design your proposal for me, i.e. you would carve out the sections within your groups that would give everybody about 40 hours of work. So that includes, everything from your interviews all the way through your presentation, but it doesn't include your administrative things, right? So we're going to do this consultant style. It does not include your, if you're doing your timesheets, if you're trying to figure out how to do make a collaboration website for your group, if you're thinking about your, buying pencils, those things are not included. And the way we're doing this is just to get all of us sort of, getting used to the market standards of how consulting works. Got it? And then if there are any questions, let's just discuss it on Facebook. How on earth do I do an invoice? How do timesheets look like, et cetera, et cetera. Let's discuss that. But in a nutshell, so does everybody get it as you carve out? So I want you to meet in your groups, assign a leader or not, and then basically carve out, based on this set of things, a proposal for me, just 1 or 2 pages. Okay, and then what you can do is that I have some samples of proposals that I put in the assignment database. So if you look at the assignment database, there is sample proposals. And what I'm looking for is something very, very basic. Right? A proposal can be really short and really long. So, okay, stepping back, this is what happens in the real world. A consultant like me would come and say, I actually really want to do something with this ICTD center. I don't even know that it is here, But we have so many resources here. There are these students, there's this website, but I'm just way too busy to even think of a business plan, and I don't know what to do, right? And then there's so many constraints in terms of funding. So can you just do something for me, right? And then this is when you write me a proposal. Does that make sense? It's just 1 or 2 pages. Any questions on the proposals itself? Yep. Tim?
Are you going to combine both of them to the ICTD center? Like, what are you going to do if we have 2 separate teams?
Yeah, that's why so it's very clear, Christine, everybody's team except for ours. That's why I needed everybody to sign up. So you guys are already up there. And what I would love to do is to have us look at the ICTD Center as both, the first one and the second one. Because
there's only 3 of us anyway, so there's only 3 of us anyways.
Do all of it if you want,
Yeah.
It depends on how broad or how deep you want to go. And I think at the end of the day, what I really, really want you to do is to ask yourself what would be interesting and fun for you. And what I'm trying to do is, for the ICTD Center at the very least, is to involve our professors here. So hopefully you get a chance to interview them, and then they will be sitting in during the final presentation as well. So
okay.
I do want to do a good job for that. Okay, Priya, you have a question?
Yeah, so you said that we have to write 8 pages each for the proposal. So does that mean it's one single proposal where each team member writes 8 pages?
The proposal is just 1 page, 1 or 2 pages. So, these are things you want to address. Yeah. Your final product is about 8 pages, right? So, I just say that so that you get a sense of what that is, But honestly, it's up to you. In Christina's case, if you wanted to write, your entire thesis, fine. Anything that helps with your own personal work. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so that is due.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the answer to that. Were you saying it is 8 pages per person?
Yes. Yeah, a minimum of about 8 pages, which I think is sort of the UC Berkeley standard.
You mean per project?
Huh? No, per person.
Oh, per person.
So yeah, so it's to make it fair. So if there are 8 persons in one project, doesn't make it fair if you have one. That means it's a 1 page each.
Well, you could increase the quality a lot if you've got multiple people as opposed to just.
Yeah, but if you think about it, right, if you're looking at things like this, like a business plan, that an 8-page paper is probably fairly standard. It's probably hard to write like a 3-page business model.
So that's why you're saying divide it up into like factors so that each one can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is usually how, standing back from a consultant's view, this is actually how you write your proposal for your client, right? You think about what are the resources you have. Okay, it's 8 hours, that translates into X dollars. And so, not 8 hours, but 8 pages and 40 hours per person. What are the chunks that I can deliver to the client, right? Because this is what I'm telling you. I'm like, okay, this is how much I can pay you, which is 40 hours, and this is my problem. Okay, what can you do to help me solve it, right? And that is how you provide the proposal for me. Does that make sense? Better sense? Okay, any other questions on that before we move into collaboration and timesheets? Okay, next thing I want to talk about is your time tracking. Has anybody done consulting before with time tracking and all that? Awesome. So Team Priya would be great at that. Did you use any type of time tracking software, or just Excel sheet, or backtrack and fake it? Like sometimes I do.
No, there were multiple things. So in my first company, they had a proprietary their own software that everyone in the company had to use to log their time. And it was pretty cool. Like you just start and log in during the day, and then it keeps asking you like before lunch, what did you do? So it was pretty useful.
Right.
And because otherwise you have to wait for the week, and then you have to remember what you did during the week.
Yep.
So that was pretty useful. In other places which are not so big and didn't have their software, it's just been like marking my time off on Google Calendar. Like
right.
I'm doing work.
You could do that as well. And some people do it Excel, and like I said, some people just don't keep track, and then at the end of the month they panic and they go back and they try to count, which is not really good practice. So hopefully we'll start this on a good footing. So what you need to do is basically that I have some resources for you within the assignment, where you could look at some of the time tracking software. If you want to use that, it's not really necessary for this project, honestly. I use Gtracks a lot, which is because it's very tied in with Google. And you can actually, it's asking me to log in. Gtracks is a decent software. It's fairly free and it's very easy to use. But there's a lot of things out there, including your Google Calendar. So you can just mark it in. Got it? Okay, so you can do it however you want, but basically just submit an invoice together with your timesheets attached to it, which is how it's done. And then there are examples of how the invoices look like within your assignment sheet. Also, if you need to do any kind of collaboration, especially if you have a big group, which I don't think we do, within the ICT group we would do our own thing, you should be doing some kind of a collaborative platform. Right? This is just to start with best practices instead of, what we have most times is that we couldn't keep up with the versioning of the papers, etc. Okay, and so what I'm needing from you guys is the proposal, and then by the first Monday of the start of the month would be your invoice with your timesheet. Okay, and you can submit your invoice as a team. Okay, any other questions on these logistics? Yeah, very clear, right? Cool. Okay, with that, Ruha,